Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem, performed this afternoon by Peter Griffin and his dirt bike.
This is Davey, the Duke Millsaps, and you're listening to DMXS Radio, the best damn station on the planet.
All right, folks, welcome back to DMXS. Once again, we appreciate you guys tuning in after all of these decades of us doing all this dumb shit. We appreciate you guys. A quick thanks to our sponsors, Racer XMX Sports, W Wheels, OGO Concept, Two Rowers, and of course the great folks at Dunlop Tires, the best tires in the business, including the all-new GeoMax Factory Spec Tire. That's right, you can get a factory spec tire, custom rubber compound, optimized profile, and reinforced sidewalls available in December. And make sure you guys check out the Jet Lawrence and Faulkner and Velleman pods I just dropped. So if you haven't checked those out yet, please do so. And now, one of my favorite guys in the whole world. Welcome back. It's been way too long. Zach Osborne. Zacho, welcome back to DMXS.
What's happening, guys? How you doing?
Man, we are doing amazing. It's been way too long. First of all, how are you? How are Brittany, the kids? I mean, everybody's getting older. How's everybody doing there?
Yeah, we're doing great, man. Just cruising along. Sorry about that buzzer. That was my garage door closing.
You're good.
Yeah, just cruising along, enjoying life. Got a lot going on. You know, I always thought that when I retired and, you know, if motocross took up 8 hours of my day, I'd have that 8 hours to do
anything. Yeah.
I don't know what I thought, but but I'm super busy, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just have a lot going on here in Florida. Yeah. 3 kids that are homeschooled. Well, my smallest guy, he's only 2, but he still keeps us busy. Couple small businesses and projects and some training clients and a lot. So just stoked on life and cruising along.
Well, we all saw the videos of you on the Z50s, and that can only mean one thing. So I want to thank you for coming on DMXS and announcing you're coming back out of retirement. That is amazing.
Oh, yeah. Straight to the Z50 races.
You do turn tracks on Z50s, then you jump to the 450 Anaheim. Let's do this.
I mean, it sounds like a legit plan, right?
I mean,
what could go wrong?
Wouldn't Baker? Isn't that the Baker philosophy? You start on Z50s during your compound, and then you work your way up to the 450. Right? You have to earn the 450.
Yeah, you got to shock the system, you know?
You look like you're having a lot of fun on that bike. And so, you know, everybody's just, you know, I don't know what it is about retirement. You and Dungy both kind of came back and, you know, spurred everybody's interest. And are you ruling out never, ever, ever coming back out of retirement?
I don't know how you would define retirement. I don't think there's a full pro season. There's definitely not full pro season in my future. I don't think, but, you know, I wouldn't say no to the one-off race or whatever.
Yeah.
I've kicked around the idea of Loretta's for the last couple years.
Yeah. And
finally last year, my, I guess whatever you want to say, ban or whatever for, scoring pro points off of, the 25 plus class. So, I think that's kind of, in the cards for me this year. Maybe we'll see. I have a couple cool little deals cooking. So, it's a possibility that I would do that and then maybe hit a cool national after or something. I don't really have any plans.
Yeah.
Right now I've just been cycling a lot. I had my elbow last year wasn't that bad at the time. Didn't seem that bad, but it just was not great. So I had all the metal work from that removed, and that's been a huge positive in the right direction. And with that, I feel like I want to ride a little bit again and kind of get in the bug. And before that, this summer when I was riding the Club MX bike, I was just struggling with my arm really a lot.
Right.
I had a lot of pressure on the end of my plate, and just a lot of pain in my tricep and just weird stuff. So got all that out, got it all cleaned up, fixed up. The doctor was super pumped to have done it because he said there was a little bit more going on in there than kind of what he anticipated, because originally they thought they would leave it forever. But it was just really annoying and bothersome. I have a couple other little things, like a little screw in my wrist and then a plate on my collarbone. And after having the one out of my elbow, now I want to get the rest of them out because it feels so much better.
Well, we've known you forever, since 60s and 80s, way back to Loretta's, and you won your first pro moto at Loretta's. So going back would be pretty funny to actually win another title in a plus class and then go to a national. Basically, reverse of what kids do. They win a regular amateur title, then they turn pro. So you be doing it in reverse, but that would be. I mean, you're in shape. It looks like you're ready at any time to jump back on a bike and compete at Loretta Lynn's.
I don't know. I would say that I'm relatively in shape, probably a little overweight for riding.
Yeah.
But that can go away quick, in shape is a relative term, right? I'm nowhere near
not riding in shape.
At points in my life, but I'm still in decent shape. I still ride my bicycle a lot.
Yeah.
That's probably my main hobby, is cycling. So, I would say I'm in decent shape, but definitely not riding shape.
So 1 out of 10 right now, your peak in shapeness, and when you were a pro, where are you at? Like a 5, a 6? Okay.
Somewhere in the 5 or 6 range. I'd say that's a pretty good estimate. But I feel like, and I've seen it with a few guys that I've been around and worked with or whatever. Once you have those so many years of that base and motos and stuff, it comes back quick. So an 8-week sort of, let's say, boot camp, you can really turn things around if you don't get injured or sick or whatever.
Right.
So it's all still there. You just have to kind of find it, I guess.
What is the longest that you've ridden on a dirt bike in the last? I mean, I know you did some stuff with Club there, but have you done a 30-minute moto? Have you done 20-minute motos? How much seat time have you done? As far as getting in riding shape in that last year.
So prior to my crash at Day in the Dirt, in I think that was March or whatever.
Right.
I was in really good shape. I was in a really good spot. I would say I was probably like a 7 or 8 on your scale that you mentioned earlier, and was just in a really good spot, with the bike and everything, and it all kind of felt like making sense to try to do it this summer. And then that injury, man, it was kind of gnarly. Had to get transported by ambulance, which my kids had never seen before. I've only been in an ambulance once, I think, prior to that. And that was, I actually went to the hospital, and then they transported me by ambulance to Orlando when I got hurt in 2020, just because I had two lung punctures. But that was my first, from the track ambulance ride. And it kind of shook them up in a way that I didn't really feel like was fair. It was kind of what am I doing this for? Other than my selfish, I want to race still sort of thing. So that kind of changed my perspective on it a little bit. If I do it again, it'll just be solely for fun. I do fancy a testing job or something like that. If something like that came around, I would be stoked.
Right.
But for the most part, that Day in the Dirt thing just kind of it kind of hampered my spirit as far as going all in, going racing, doing something like that.
Did you see it like a warning sign?
Almost, yeah, like a wake up call. Why am I doing this? The deal that I had worked out was quite good money. It all kind of, like I said, it was all kind of making sense to do it. So was plugging away, Joey and I were riding together a lot. I was really having a really fun time. Like just being at the track and like ride, the bike was so much fun to ride that there weren't many bad days, so
yeah,
it was all, like I said, making sense. And then it just didn't anymore. So yeah, well, it is what it is.
Yeah. Cause Kevin and I were calling that race and I noticed that you didn't come back around. And I'm like, cause there's so many bikes on the track. Day in the Dirt is just insane, the format, cause they dump, 300 bikes on the track at one time. And I'm not even kidding, but you didn't come back around, and we were watching you and Marv and, some of the pros out there dicing around. And then I found out later that you had gone down and you'd broken, I texted you said you broke up some ribs and stuff. And you're like, oh, I'm fine. And then, but that basically sounded like it was a wake up call for you, that the reality of what you'd have to do and the laps you'd have to put in, the time you did, the risk of another injury would be, elevated quite a bit.
Yeah, honestly, like it all sounds so good and so fun until it's not, right?
Yeah.
Like, until you go and get a bad start and you're buried in the pack and around a bunch of squirrels, or just something stupid happens, like what happened at Day in the Dirt. Like,
yeah,
it's all awesome and it looks cool on paper and the pictures are cool and all that stuff until it's sideways, and then it's like, well, what the heck? What the heck am I doing?
What did Brittany say at Day in the Dirt? Did she like, this shit's done? Sorry, your dream is.
No, she would never say that. She's like the ultimate support system, I would say, and she was kind of shook up too, which I had never really seen because they wouldn't let her to me. I was in like the ambulance, like kind of trailer thing at Dade City, and she got kind of spun out. So then it was even more so for everyone. But it did kind of spark some conversations between us as to like, what was the point,
Is it worth it?
So she would never tell me, never try my dirt bike again, or, something along those lines. But, it was just a weird turning point, I guess. Kind of a sucky turning point because, like I said, in March prior to that, I was in such a good spot and, just felt really good. But it is what it is. Everything happens for a reason. And, I'm content. Like I said, I don't think a full season or anything is in my foreseeable future, but, maybe a race or two. Yeah. I don't know.
You know what? I talked to Wyndham after he retired, probably a couple years after that. And every time I bring this up, this is always such a sobering thing to me. I said, what do you miss about racing? He said, I miss nothing except coming through the tunnel to the crowd. Like the Anaheim one, that rush and that thrill, and it, puts in perspective all the hard work, everything that you got there. But he can't find anything in life to replace that rush of opening ceremonies. And so can you relate to that? Like when you're making these decisions to come back into racing, come out of retirement, is it for that rush? Is it to try to, chase that adrenaline dragon?
No, I don't think so. For me, I've never really done anything for, I don't know, I guess you would kind of call that fame a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I understand where he's coming from, but that was not it for me. Like for me, I miss the absolute grind during the week. I've had some funny, weird relationships with anxiety. And, for me, those years where I was just right on the cusp of greatness and, really just grinding hard, and my program each week and each day and each meal was set out for me. It was kind of like a big, I don't know, even really know how to say it, but like just peace for me. Like it was so nice.
The structure you needed. Yeah, I get it.
I found solace in that, in the grind. And that's probably what I miss the most. I'm kind of finding a different rhythm with life and everything like that. But for me, that was probably, that's probably the thing I miss the most, is just the grind of, being at the track every day and being in the gym and on the bicycle and, really no distractions. Like I never felt, I won't say I never felt selfish, but I always felt like I was kind of one of the less selfish guys in the paddock, just kind of from stories and stuff. But like, it is, when you are done, it is a very selfish thing. Like everything revolves around you, the wake up,
sure,
go to bed, everything. Right. So, I have kids and a wife and a family and, other things to balance now. And, finding that has taken some time, but, that's what I miss the most, is just the absolute grind of it.
Was your anxiety stuff, was that like from childhood or after you turned pro? I don't even know this story, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I've never really talked about it, I don't guess. I don't know, to be honest with you, kind of when or how it started.
Yeah.
For the most part, would have probably been as during my time as an owner at Club MX, like we went through a lawsuit, and that kind of just festered a lot of things for me, oddly. So yeah, I would say that was probably a big piece of it, but yeah, I don't know really. I guess I've never really been that open about it.
Yeah, I understand. So that structure makes a lot of sense, and I think Dunge was a lot like that too. Just the absolute process of getting race ready. You get addicted to that. You get addicted to the suffering to get you to that point for the reward.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. I think that you just sort of learn to find, I don't know, like I said, peace or solace in that, and man, it can be so fun. Like if you have the right group of guys and things are going good, it's amazing.
Yeah. Your kids are, I know Emery and Bodie are getting older now. Are there any racers in the family? Do you, when you see Red Dog and Nick Way and Reedy out there, grinding like your family did, do you hope or wish or foresee that might even be a thing, or want that or not want that?
I don't know that I don't hate the idea of it. I don't love the idea of it either, though. I see those, like Chad especially, he's just out there every day grinding.
Yeah, literally.
I own an epoxy business, and we recently did a floor at his house, and he's out there washing bikes, and I'm like, don't really envy you. Like, I would like for my kid to ride, but I don't think that's my spot right now.
Yeah. Yeah, he's doing top ends. He's doing everything. He's like legit mechanic.
Yeah. He's a full-on mechanic at this point. But for me, my little guy Bodie, he races go-karts, and we've been doing some cycling races, cyclocross, and we have a mountain bike race coming up next weekend. So I love that side of things. Obviously, fun for me too. So I'm totally content with him not riding. He rides in the backyard, quad, or like if I get the Z50 out, he wants to ride the GTR 50 that we have, and I'm pretty happy with that. My little girl, she's super artsy, so she can ride. She rides occasionally with Bodie, but nothing too serious. And little guys yet to be seen, I guess.
All right, so Bodie is getting prepared for his F1 racing career, because I know you don't like NASCAR, so you want Bodie to be in F1, right?
No, that's incorrect. He actually was like, "Hey, Dad, I think I want to race NASCAR. How can we get there?" And I'm like, well, I don't think we have enough money to get there, so you have to be really good.
Yeah, you have to get sponsored early.
But we'll get you a go-kart and get started.
Yeah, people that don't know, Zach and I give each other shit, 'cause I like F1. I used to like NASCAR a lot, but he hates F1 and loves NASCAR, and we're kind of opposite. But it's kind of cool for karting, because I don't care if you're Larson or Max Verstappen, they all started in go-karts.
Yeah, I think that's just the jumping in point.
Yeah,
right? And like I was sadly mistaken when we first started going to the track. I was like, man, this seems so much more friendly than like amateur 6-year-old motocross.
Yeah.
Went to the first race, and I was like, nah, I was wrong. Totally wrong. It's all the same stuff.
Is it all cutthroat?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
And same thing about all about the equipment. Like, you don't have the right motor, you don't have the right stuff. I was like, oh, this is pretty, relatively inexpensive. Like, I could buy a cart for $3,000 and I throw a couple sets of tires at it or whatever. And I was badly wrong. It turned into quickly buying another cart and then another engine, and then it's just a learning curve, like everything. But
and as you go up,
very competitive.
As you go up in the next car, and then the next open wheel, I mean, those things are just getting exponentially more expensive. And I have a friend whose son's on that grind. He's like 15, 16 years old, and they just travel to the mega tracks and do those series. And it's just amazing how much money it is. And if you don't have a sponsorship, if you don't have somebody third wheeling you into that, it's probably $200,000-$300,000 a year just to race.
Yeah. Like I said, I told him we don't have enough money to make it NASCAR, so you have to be really good. But yeah, we enjoy it as a family. We've had fun, and we have a local track that's about 30-35 minutes away, Bushnell, and they have a great little series, and cool. There's other kids there. So it's just a fun little deal for us so far. I know it'll get more serious eventually, but so far it's fun.
The championship just wrapped up, and I didn't follow it. I did the last couple races, but what'd you think about that the playoff series in NASCAR? It's kind of weird. We have that new SMX in our sport, and it's kind of that one-off playoff series. But man, with Larson being left out and stuff, did you think that was kind of janky how that whole thing ended in the drivers that were up for a championship at NASCAR? Just as a side note,
I love the format.
Okay.
I like stage racing. I like the, winner take all at Phoenix. I know it's a lot of racing for a winner take all scenario, but like every year it's exciting, and you reference back to like motocross stuff where, there's last race championship duels and all that stuff. And it's kind of like, why wouldn't we want that every year? So, I found, there's other years where guys shouldn't have been in there that were in there and vice versa. And, I think Larson's the best driver in the field, maybe the best driver in the world.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And it just didn't fall his way. I don't like that there's Talladega in the round of 8. I think that kind of sucks. Just because it's a little bit of a crapshoot, but at the same time, it's the same for everyone. So you got to make the right calls and be in the right spots,
Yeah, it's kind of interesting seeing some of the stuff on X about the fans and the backlash, and I guess all the Larson fans are kind of pissed. I know it came down to those drivers, but like SMX, talking to Hammer and stuff about it, it's kind of like it is a championship, but it's not like the championship and the triple points at the end. I mean, it's kind of it kind of has that flair to it to make it exciting no matter what going into the last round. But I certainly wouldn't want my entire championship built on basically just trying to make it a show as opposed to, who truly has earned the right to be there.
Yeah, I get that. There's a couple of X accounts that keep points as like they call it like Winston Cup points. Like before there was any sort of chase or any sort of format or anything like that, it was just straight points. And I always kind of find it interesting to see that. But at the same time, you don't know how it realistically would have played out had that been the case, because there's going to be different strategies involved at times where you need to just get a date or whatever that looks like. So it's kind of relevant, kind of irrelevant, but I love the chase format. And
you like the segments? You like the segments and all that too?
I do like it for NASCAR.
I'm sorry, but do you like the segment races, the segments of the racing too? Everybody stops and resets.
I don't hate the stage racing. Like I said a minute ago, I quite like the stage racing. It just gives another break to the, kind of spot to earn points and all that stuff. If anything, if I could say anything about NASCAR, I would love for it to be just shorter, like 250 laps instead of 500 laps.
Right.
I love the Xfinity series. I love the Xfinity class. It's kind of like our 250 class. It's super similar, actually.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good racing, a lot of older drivers, a lot of younger drivers, crashes, all the stuff. So I love watching Xfinity racing. But overall, I think it's a pretty good package.
Now that you're retired, I mean, do you watch all Supercross, motocross races live? Do you record them and come back and watch them? I mean, how involved are you as a retired racer when it comes to the grind of it being a fan?
I'm pretty involved, I would say. I struggle when it's like 2:00.
Yeah, the late races
in the morning here.
Yeah,
like when it's on the West Coast and it's a late night and all that stuff. But last year I had Joey Savacci. We were working together training wise. We still are, but this year I have a couple more guys, so I'm sure I'll be at some races and be involved. So
good.
I would say for the most part, I'm pretty dang involved.
And even motocross, like you watch the motos during the day. I mean, like you're that guy who's streaming it on Peacock and you're watching the practice times and you're all that stuff.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I'm that guy, I would say.
Good, man. That's awesome.
I don't find, I guess having my experience, I've noticed from being on Twitter and reading like other people's opinions on races, I think that when I watch a race, I'm seeing things that I've felt before and things that are different and like fine little intricacies that most people don't see. So I don't ever find racing boring.
Right.
There's always things that I'm like, oh, okay, here, there, suspension, like little stuff. Like I said, that I feel like I can see that just the average fan doesn't. So for me, it's pretty in depth when I'm watching. I love to watch. I love to watch the best in the world do it at a high level. I think that Jet has changed things a little bit. I think he's gotten a little bit more credit than he probably deserves for the feet on the peg thing, because Eli was doing that a long time ago. Like even when I was staying at his house back in 2015, that was one thing that they were huge on was feet on the pegs. So yeah, I love watching the sport evolve. I love watching bikes and setups and attitudes and all that stuff. So I'm keen.
Oh my God. I was, just dropped a pod with Villeman, and that dude, him with bike setup. He just is, he just sees stuff, and he, I think he went on Vital and basically ripped Sexton and Tomac's setup. And so when you guys see that, when you're a pro rider and you're looking at Sexton or Tomac or somebody, whoever that day is struggling, is it obvious to you just by watching them ride and how the braking bumps or how the bike coming out of the corner, can you tell that their setup is either on or off early?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's hard to know so much about the bike itself, but, like as far as what they're actually using or what they're running or whatever. But definitely you can tell what's up pretty quickly if you know what you're looking at.
Well, so if you're a rider, so this is what's the dichotomy of stuff, because I know TK's your hero, Tyler. But when you talk to Tyler, I can listen to him talk on the phone for an hour about bike setup because he sees stuff. But when you're riding and you're the racer that day and shit's not going your way, how come you can't fix it that day? Like, how come you can't translate what you're seeing of another rider's bike setup? How come you can't do it to yourself?
Well, like for me, I always use stuff that I had used before. Like I ran, typically I would start the season on what I ended the prior season on, even if there were, there would have to be massive gains in the off season for me to change what I already knew.
Makes sense.
And a lot of guys just aren't like that. Like, I've seen Cooper Webb put on a fork that he's never ridden with a new set of triple clamps for a main event and go ride and win. And I'm like, that's not even in my wheelhouse, I would never consider doing that. So there's guys who are more similar to me, probably not many that are as stale as me on settings. But a lot of guys are just looking for something. Mm-hmm. They have data and they have graphs and they have all the things that a factory team has, and they make a choice and they go race. And it's impressive, but to answer your question, a lot of times it's a shot in the dark. Like you're just like, yep, I hope this one works,
okay. That's
and,
crazy.
And it doesn't always work. And maybe you go the wrong direction and it gets worse. And you can't really say that. Like, yeah, my team made a change and it was worse.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot kind of unsaid, untold on that side.
And plus, if you're an OEM and you have to run certain stuff, I know Coop, when he was on KTM, there was rumors of him running stock suspension because he was so sick of chasing the factory stuff. But when you're limited to, that's another thing about Star is they opened up the toolbox for their for the riders, pretty much whatever you want to run. But when you're an OEM, there's only certain things you can do.
Right, and for the most part, there's certain situations where you kind of have to make some changes away from what they're comfortable with. But also, when you do that, you're shouldering a lot of the pressure. Like, okay, here you go, big boy. This is what you wanted, So that's another factor to it all as well. You're the guy that's calling the shots as the rider. And at the end of the day, the buck stops with you. Nobody's going to really remember the suspension guy's name as much as you. You're the rider that's out there putting your neck on the line and all that stuff. So that's another sort of facet to it, is that you're shouldering the pressure, especially when they stick their neck out big time. In some cases where they're using stuff they probably quote unquote shouldn't be using.
Yeah,
that makes it tough on you too.
Sexton, one good thing about being retired is you don't have to worry about contract years, but next year, at the end of 2025, it's pretty crazy. Sexton, Plessinger, Tomac, Barsha, Anderson, and Webb, all their contracts are up at the end of 2025.
Yeah, that's a big year. And I would think that, likely I would say Deegan's going to move up, right?
After
how much longer he stays down. maybe one or two other guys. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of moving, I think.
Do you think Sexton stays on KTM?
I don't know. I don't know about that one. I doubt it, honestly.
Yeah, I do too. And
would be pretty crazy just to do it two and done. But yeah, we'll see.
And Webb, I mean, he's one of those ones that you can never count out. I know you've had some epic damn battles with that dude throughout your career. What'd you think about 2024 for him, and then with his contract year up, does he stay at Star? What do you think happens to Webb?
Yeah, I think he stays at Star. I think it was a really good year for him to get some wins.
Yeah,
and, be in the hunt and take it to all the way to Salt Lake, even with an injured thumb for the last 4 or 5 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like you said, like you can never count him out. You absolutely just have to consider that he's going to be a player, right? So he's not going to be fast in practice. He's not going to look that great, but he's going to be there in the 20-lap main event, So that's just who he is and how he makes his money, and fair play.
And this is a question specific to you, because I love asking people that actually raced in Europe. But the resurgence of the European talent, obviously they're getting better, and it's a great comparison between continents. But how do you think Prado is going to do?
I think Prado will be a little better than last year.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know how much better, but I see him in like the 5 on a good night to 8 or 9 on a
okay.
whatever night, in the 5 to 9 range. I think he settles in there pretty good. Maybe he has some flashes of brilliance at the Speedway tracks, Daytona. So yeah, we'll see.
And a lot of talent coming this way. I know DeWolf's going to come after he defends his title, and the Coonan brothers are coming. What do you think about this, the talent and the equity between the USA and the GPs in the last 10 years or so?
I think that for whatever reason, right now, the Europe is producing some pretty good guys. I think it's because they have some super gnarly tracks. I think that the level there is high right now.
Yep.
As a whole, both classes, I think it's super high. And I just think that there's a want again. I wouldn't say it's new, but a want again to come and do Supercross and race Supercross and be in America and live that dream. I think that had faded for a little while, like with Tony and Jeffrey and Sam and some of those guys just staying there and making their money, which is fair play. Like I probably would have done the same thing if I were those guys. But I think that you're going to see some decent Supercross, motocross guys that come and have some staying power and can really do it here in the next couple of years. I
have no idea. This is literally, I have no idea. But with Supercross and motocross, obviously we have different contract structures here. But what's the money like for a pro racer there, Europe versus US? Do we make a whole lot more than them on factory contracts, or it's not that big of a difference?
I couldn't really tell you, to be honest. I know that the bonuses here are far more.
Okay, gotcha.
Way, way more. So
yeah.
But as far as salary goes, I don't really know. They do a little bit less, let's say, big racing, but they do a lot of racing, in national championships and that kind of stuff, and one-off events. They do a fair amount of racing, but it's a little less. I don't know, like from my experience, it's a little less stressful as far as travel goes.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have a couple more flyways than what we did when I was there. But yeah, I would say that it's overall like a little bit of an easier life there. So maybe that makes up for some of the loss.
When you see people like DeWolf come over here and you see his first couple of days on the Supercross track, do you just have to like cover your eyes?
A little bit, but I think that, I'm assuming that you're referencing that one video where
it's case and shit.
Off and him the section. I would have a hard time believing that Kai had many of those moments. I think he's a really good rider. He's extremely good at leveraging the rear wheel and manualing things. I think he has the real potential to be a really good Supercross rider. And obviously he's good outdoors. So I think that he's going to have some staying power. If he can stay healthy and just kind of miss some of the pitfalls of that transfer.
And style wise, I'm a big style guy. I mean, and he just is I love to watch him ride.
Oh yeah, he's super saucy. I love to watch him ride too.
Yeah.
When we were there for the Motocross Nations in 2019, that was his first week.
Yep.
On the Husky team, and he was already like really fast. He was only 14, and he was like not that much slower than Jason and I.
Oh,
we were kind of like, oh
shit, here he comes.
But yeah, he's super saucy. I love to watch him ride as well. And like I said, he's one of the best I've ever seen at manualing. The only person I know that even remotely rivals him is Gautier Paulin.
Okay.
I think mostly because of his BMX background. But Kai is really good.
Yeah. The motocross destinations, we bleed red, white, and blue. I mean, you've obviously ridden for our team, but if we can't win, it was pretty cool to see Australia this year. Yeah,
that was great. I think that, in my opinion, Matterley is the best track on the planet.
So epic.
Oh, it's awesome. Awesome spectacle for the fans. Awesome track. Good dirt. Just a mega spot, honestly. I'm a little biased just because of my ties to Steve and everything, but
of course,
at the same time, it's a great track. And like I said, great atmosphere, great place to watch. But yeah, I expected Australia to be good. I wasn't sure if Webster was good enough to cover.
Sure.
But obviously he was.
Why is Team USA so much drama, Zacho, when it comes to picking a team, picking it later, OEMs? I mean, how can we fix this? Every 2 years, what are we going to do? I don't know.
I put a lot of thought into it, and I don't know. I've questioned whether it's sort of politics from manufacturers or you never really know what's going on behind the scenes. We know what we're told as far as injuries and this restriction and that and all that stuff. But I don't know. I think I really don't know, David. Like I can't answer that.
And that's are you in favor of doing the designations every 2 years, maybe to lighten up the cost and then making it more exclusive?
No, not no, but hell no.
You're just tried and true. I love it.
No shot. I mean, we're Team USA. One of the, in my opinion, not to sound arrogant, like beating my chest American, but without the Americans there, it's not really that much of a spectacle, right? We've seen it a couple times where I don't even know that I watched those races,
Right.
And when they are there, I'm really invested in it. So, there's no reason that we have funding issues. There's no reason that we should have rider issues. Like, we have to be there, and it doesn't matter. Not like nothing else matters. Like, that's all there is to it.
I love it. That's the greatest answer ever when it comes to the designations, and I mean that because whether it's the Coster and OEMs, I mean there's always something, and it's I don't want to say embarrassing, but it's like let's just get our shit together, let's just knock this out, let's get a team. But I will tell you this: Webb and Tomac coming in like Rocky at the end and salvaging that team, that was a pretty good storyline.
Absolutely. For me, I said it on the Moto 60 show that I did with Steve, Eli was the pick day one. I know that he respectfully bowed out, and I understand all that, but in my mind, if I'm Roger, I'm calling him for the third member to Chase and Deegan or whatever the team was going to be, and I think that he was kind of the perfect captain for the deal. And, I appreciate him stepping up and Cooper too. He didn't have proper time or training or settings or anything, but he just went because he, like me, knows that we need to be there.
I know that every couple of generations we have these guys that supposedly transcend, and I guess Deegan's that guy in the 250s. He's obviously talent wise, has a really good advantage in that class, and he obviously has a bright future. 450s moving up. What do you think of that program? What do you think of him as a rider? What he has brought to the sport as far as fan base goes, and then love him or hate him type of stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, at times he seems cocky, but.
Yeah.
He backs it up every time. So far, I don't know what else to say. He is a pretty generational talent. I think he's next guy that can come up and really like challenge Jet speed wise. Obviously Jet has plenty of competitors in the class already, but from the next crop, I think he's the guy that can really kind of make the gap, bridge the gap to being a 450 winner.
When you see his style, I mean, everybody talks about how smooth Jet is coming up, and we watch that. It transcended even Chase being, super smooth coming up, whatever. When you watch Deegan, is it literally just pin it? I mean, do you see anything style wise that you can, attribute to anything different, or does he literally just have the biggest balls in the 250 class and just knows and willing to risk it?
I think he's just willing to risk it.
Okay.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of my style. Like there wasn't much style. It was just kind of get the job done,
Yeah. Whatever it takes.
As long as you're getting the job done, it doesn't matter, right? Like Jet looks pretty, but honestly, it's sometimes a little boring to watch, or he makes watching a little boring as far as the racing goes.
Yeah.
But Deegan, there's never a dull moment. He's a fighter.
Yeah.
He has tons of heart. He rides, kind of hard on the sleeve. And I enjoy watching him.
Because when you watch him, he makes 12 mistakes a lap and makes up and it's still a second faster.
Yeah,
I mean,
and passes people doing it. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Where do you come down on, what age to move up? Like if you're his dad or his manager, or if you were in a similar situation, I mean, we've seen some of this stuff with Volan and some of these kids that kind of move up really quick and then it doesn't work out. Actually, probably 90% of the kids that hasn't worked out. What do you think is the magic formula for that move up?
To the pros or to the 450 class?
To the pros and make that make it stick.
I don't think that there's a magic formula. I think that it's per guy basis, how that person's reacting at the moment, that they're trying to go pro, if their body's ready, they're past puberty, there's not a lot of change going on. They've refound their balance and all that stuff. I think that plays a bigger role in all of it than what we give credit to it in our sport, as far as like athlete requirements go or whatever. I don't know how to really say that, but I think that all that stuff plays a bigger role than what we give it credit for. So to me, it's just a case by case basis as to when you're like, okay, this is the time, I'm ready, I feel prepared. I'm going to get my teeth kicked in a couple times, but as long as I can recover from that, we'll be all right.
Are you surprised as I am? Because, with Verb and Wes and we all came out of covering amateur motocross into pro motocross. So we knew all you guys and families coming up. It just seems like the last 5, 6, 7 years, Zacho, that these kids that are supposed to be the prodigies have not hit after they moved up. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I can't really explain it, having been one of those kids myself.
Yeah.
That didn't make it initially. Like for me, like I said a minute ago, like it was puberty. It was just like bad timing as far as health goes, and like there's so much more to it than what people realize or understand. And I think that there's sort of a lack of let's say like guidance in that period. That's super crucial, that you have somebody in your corner that knows what they're doing, knows what's going on, knows what it all looks like. Because the step from like winning Loretta's in the A class to winning a pro race is like the same step from Super Mini to winning an A class race. Like it's a world apart, like I think that people get in their head, well, we're going to go to Loretta's and win the A class, and then we're going to go get a top 5 at Unadilla or whatever that, first race happens to be.
Yeah.
And we're cruising from there. And that's, that's fine and dandy if you won Loretta's by 30 seconds and, you can do 2 times 35 in the heat in Florida, then you might be right. But there's just not many of those these days.
That is absolutely true. Hey, what on a side, completely outside the bounds question here, what happened to our fantasy golf league?
I don't know. I was just about to ask you the same thing. I thought about that a minute ago when you mentioned TK.
We went from every
for a while and then it went away.
We went from and we even do double tournaments on those off weekends where there's like one in the Bahamas or something, and we went from that to nothing.
Let's just blame it on Liv.
You want to?
Yeah, Liv ruined our golf group.
Yeah, that's it's one of those things that, I mean, and TK's, he was one of the biggest shit talkers ever. So I loved when we all would beat his ass, because he would say, "Oh, I just picked my teams 3 seconds ago and I beat you." It's like, and I'll be doing research like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'll be changing it on Thursday mornings and like regretting it instantly on tee off.
I just remember having to go to upper management for a $25 credit. It was really not that fun. I played probably 3 years on about $75.
Yeah.
I need to check my account and see if I got any money in there.
Yeah, that was the whole thing, is if you won enough just to keep playing, then it was a success. I mean, that's all we wanted.
Yeah, then you got to talk crap again for the rest of the week and not have to ask the wife for some more cash.
Yeah. Hey, with your elbow and wrist and stuff, how is your golf game? Do you play?
I haven't played much. Honestly, like if I have time, I would rather ride my bicycle for 4 hours than go play around a golf. So
okay,
it's just kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit. Yeah. My game has not been worked on or tuned in a while. So I haven't played very much.
Are you team DeChambeau now? I love that guy now.
I am. I always have been. You know that. I was shooting his horn whenever everyone hated him. So I'm pumped. I'm glad that other people are kind of seeing the other side of him. I love his approach to golf because it's very similar to my approach to motocross. As in, like, the more scientific you can make something and the less variables you can have doing it,
I like it.
The more repeatable it's going to be. So I love the single link shaft and all the things that he does for his game. That's what I try to do with my racing, and that's how I probably found most of my success. So, I can really relate to him. I think that he's a kind of a hated man, or was kind of a hated man for his approach, but people are coming around to it. But like from my standpoint as an ex-professional athlete, I completely appreciate it and know exactly what he's trying to do. And
he's capitalizing on social. You ever watch his Break 50 series? I mean,
I do. I've watched probably 4 or 5 of them now. Yeah. I don't consume very much YouTube content except for like how-to videos on mostly home projects.
Yeah, how to fix stuff.
But Joey had sent me one a couple months ago, and then I started watching them. Yeah, and they're really good.
I know you get asked this all the time, but how cool is it in this small, crazy world that we live in that you and Joey are now friends when you guys were eternal enemies forever?
Yeah, it's a cool thing, a super cool thing. I enjoy my relationship with Joey. He's, dude, like anyone, we're all just trying to make it, and we're all just trying to do what the next best thing is for our family or ourselves or whatever. And, dude, he's one of the funniest people you'll ever meet. Like, once you get the crust broken off of him, he's hilarious. But we have a good time. It's quite crazy that it's come full circle. Still sometimes I wonder if he wants to like stab me, but I don't think he does anymore. I think we've gotten past that. No, but seriously, I have a blast with him, and we have a really, really fun relationship. We've built kind of a little cycling group here that meets at my house on Saturdays, and he's a big part of that. And it's been fun.
Dude, do you ever bring that up? Like the shit talk? I mean, do you ever bring it up?
Not the shit talk. We've definitely had some at length conversations about that night. And like, just kind of what it all, like what it looked like for me, what it looked like for him.
Okay, cool.
And like, we've talked about doing like a at length podcast about it.
Oh, cool.
Just
break it all down.
Break it all down. But I've been considering doing like a YouTube a live podcast, I guess you'd say, with like filming and everything. But I haven't bit the bullet.
That would be the first. That would be the awesome first guest. Talk about the best first guest ever.
That was the thing. We were going to launch it with that and just like full clickbait it, and then go from there.
All right, we'll give you the Dunlop 5 questions and let you get back to being retired. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, Dunlop, the best tires in the business, including their new Pro tire available this December. That's pretty cool that you can get a Pro tire now. You guys used to have to earn that stuff. Now Dunlop's giving Pro tires to amateurs.
Yeah, I know. The Dunlop is one of the biggest supporters of my career ever. still, if I call Brian, he sends me stuff, and I really appreciate
cool.
that. And
that's cool.
Looking forward to trying this new prototype tire because I know how much difference like the good stuff is. Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
All right, what is your travel pet peeve, Zacho?
People that don't belong in the TSA pre-check line. They're in the TSA pre-check line, and then they have to get out of the TSA pre-check line.
That's a great one. Yeah, because they think that they can just pass it off, and they can't.
Yeah, hate to see it.
All right,
get to the back.
Starting line rituals. I love Chiz's little dance. Did you ever have any starting line rituals?
Yeah, puking. Normal, no big deal.
Did you ever throw up on anybody or anybody's bike?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've thrown up on plenty of boots and mechanic shoes and tool pouches and starting blocks and all kinds of stuff. I have not ever seen video of this. How come we've never seen video of this? I don't know. I don't know how there's no video or pictures of like piles of dinner at the Supercross starting gate. But I managed to escape that, I guess. Yeah. I've thrown up on plenty of people.
Is that just nerves?
But like by the end of my career, people knew like just until he's done coughing, just don't go there. Don't go there.
So your mechanic needed tear offs for his boots.
Oh, he's washed his boots plenty of times. Like those little Alpine Star mechanics boots. He'd go back and just wash those as he was washing my bike.
Unbelievable. That is amazing. All right. Tattoos. You don't have any tattoos, do you?
I do.
What do you got?
I have a huge leg piece that I got done in 2008.
Oh, I do remember that. That is a big one. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I do remember
I would like to get more to that. I would like to get my whole thigh done, like down to my cycling shorts tan line. But I haven't bit it off yet because I don't quite know what I want.
Okay.
I'd like for something with like a realistic heart with my kids' names and stuff, but I don't know if we're done having kids, so I need to wait on that. So it's just a lot of factors,
All right. Do you have a favorite Vince Free story?
No, I never really had any run-ins with Vince.
That's crazy.
He was always super nice to me.
Okay.
Super. Yeah. I don't think I ever even touched him racing, honestly.
But when you see him in some of the shit, you know that he's earned his reputation. It's not like that he's a saint.
He's not a saint, no. I think he gets a little bit of extra just because of his reputation, but he definitely has made some, beds he's got to lay in.
All right, last one. Would you have picked your bike up and finished the race like McAdoo did after his gear malfunction in Detroit?
With his balls hanging out? I don't know, man. Probably not.
Zacho, you have to. You have to.
I guess I would have to, but it'd be pretty embarrassing.
But still, I mean, come on, dude. I mean, even DeCoster said he would. He wished it would be warmer. The stadium would have been warmer because of shrinkage. Yeah. But everybody has to.
Have to be thinking about
You know what though? He's done it.
Cold waterfalls.
Yeah, he has done it, so nobody can ever have an excuse not to do it. He set the bar. Yeah. It's like
he was pretty much viral for that, right?
Yes,
Barstool and all kinds of people.
Oh yeah, I mean it was huge for our sport, and props to him. I mean he's God blessed him, so he was it wasn't like he was suffering from from that embarrassment. But I have to say this: he not only that he passed people. If you get passed and the dude goes by you and hits a rhythm section and you see his junk hanging out, you're like, I got to pick up my pace. I mean that dude just passed me, flapping in the wind. What am I doing here?
You get hit on the chin bar by some dude's balls. It's not going to be a good look. Right?
You get teabagged on your way by. Come on. What are we doing? What are we doing here? All right. Well, Zacho, thank you for your time. Whether you come out of retirement or not, we're still got the Zacho Osborne fan club in Atlanta, as we always have been, helping you change tires at Bremen to get you back out for your motos and in our fun times at the in Vegas at the whatever that they used to call that thing, the awards banquet. The AMA Awards banquet, and then they need to bring that back, the Supercross Award. Remember that? How cool that was, the Supercross Awards banquet?
It was awesome.
God,
it's kind of a bummer that they don't do that anymore, honestly.
No, that was epic. And people that are too young to know, just imagine the Supercross finale in Vegas, and then everybody stays for a frickin' party. Just imagine the stories that would entail. Now in Salt Lake City, that's not.
Were you there
happen.
the year J-Law didn't show up?
Yes, that was the whole. That was the biggest. That was like TMZ scandal. I mean, that dude.
Oh, it was major.
Oh,
I was on the team that year, and I just remember them being like, "Well, what are we going to do now?"
Yeah, I mean, this is like he has given the middle finger to the entire industry at this point.
The man. Yeah.
All right. Well, Zacho, thank you, brother. I love you. You know that. Hopefully, maybe we'll get our golf league going back here in the spring and fire things back up. But man, thanks for catching up. It's always a pleasure, brother.
Let's do it. Thank you for having me, and I'll speak soon.
All right, peace. Good night. All right, there we go. Zach Osborne. Man, that's fun. When you know guys that go back to to childhood, that they are the special ones, because we've seen the ups and downs. Gosh, him leaving at 18, 19 with Brittany heading back over to into Europe to regain the mojo of his career, then coming back and winning championships. That is such a neat story, and always good to catch up with him. Man, I just don't know how you can retire at 31, 32 and just be retired. I mean, he's got to figure out something else to do. Hopefully he'll do something with the industry. I mean, I think he'd be an awesome team manager or something, like he's mentioned, test rider, just kind of be in. He's got so much knowledge to still offer. So again, thanks to our amazing sponsors, RacerX, MX Sports, W Wheels. Get all your wheels from them, and OGO Concept 2 rowers, been with us forever as well. And Dunlop tires, including that new GeoMax factory spec tire with custom rubber compound, optimized profile, and reinforced sidewalls, available in December. Check them out at Ride Dunlop. So guys, thanks for tuning in once again to DMXS, and again the Jet Lawrence, Fortner, and Villeman pods. If you haven't checked those out, please do so. And we're back when we're back. Peace.
What's up, guys? This is Justin Brayton. David Iser and Kevin Keller, a bunch of clowns. You can go ahead and turn your radio off now.
You listen to us because we are motorcycle guys. You might even call us gurus. We are awesome.
I've been called a lot worse than that, Kevin Keller.
Yeah, we're the guys. We know everything. I know everything about you. I know everything about movies. I know everything about the space shuttle launches and the crashes. Everything.
And because you turn to us for motorcycle knowledge, we only tell you about what's the best, Kevin, because our spotless reputation that we've built for 16 years is on the line. That's why.
Yeah, and I would not risk my crappy reputation on just anybody. That's why we are telling you about Dunlop tires. It's what we have on our bikes. I have a fleet of motorcycles, and they all have fresh, crispy Dunlops on them. If the pros have them, you know us amateurs going to have them. They're good enough for them. They got to think they're good enough for us dorks.
Too good for Dunlops. You're a tire snob. We want nothing to do with you.
Yeah, good luck with that. But not just the pros use them. Everyday riders agree, and they have the testing to back it up. You can't beat the quality of Dunlop motorcycle tires.
Let's wrap this bad boy up, Kevin. Whether you're on the dirt, the road, or the track, you can depend on Dunlop. To learn more about their products, visit DunlopMotorcycleTires.com or your local pro dealer. The amateur guys are working their way up. Go to a Dunlop pro dealer. Check them out. We love them. You will too.
Get ready, America, because WUSA is your #1 source for quality wheel sets in America. WUSA offers all the top brands that you and the world's best racers know and trust, like Reed, Dungey, Millsaps, Tickle, Sealy, Short, and more. All rely and trust WUSA, because all our wheels are built right in our shop in Orange, California. And if you wanted custom made for your bike, like the world's best freestyle riders, Renner, Deegan, Adams, Madison, Mason, Sherwood, and others, you can choose different spoke and nipple colors for a completely custom look that'll dazzle you. Off-road riding, WUSA can build you wheels for the absolute toughest of conditions. And W also offers DID and Excel rims, along with OEM replacement spoke and nipple kits for your stock hubs. Need brakes? W offers the industry's best oversized and standard brake kits from Galfer and Brembo. Just see your local dealer or visit us at WUSA.com. Hey, you can also download the most current W catalog from the iTunes App Store. WUSA, DUBYA USA. It doesn't get any better than us.